Well, I'm going to get to our NBC News senior legal correspondent, Laura Jarrett, who is here with us in Washington. She has made her way outside of court after those oral arguments and is joining us now. So, Laura, give us a sense of what it was like in the room and your key takeaways.
Hallie, I was struck by the gravity of what the justices understand to be grappling with. I heard words like concerned. I heard words like very concerned. They seem to be searching for a limiting principle that will not make either side happy, and certainly not Jack Smith's side because of the timing. And I'll come back to that. But when I talk about sort of the two opposite poles here and the extremes, I do not see a majority of the justices on that court that seem willing to buy into the former president's theory that there is absolute immunity from all federal charges. But I also don't see 5 justices on that court that are going to vote to say that he's not immune under any circumstances whatsoever. And so then the question becomes, who's going to draw that line? And they're trying to wrestle with where that line is and how to separate purely private conduct as a candidate versus the steps that you and I would traditionally associate with the office of the presidency. And because the lower courts didn't do that line drawing exercise and simply just said there's no immunity, I think what we might see in this case is the courts decide to kick it back down to the lower court, send it back down to Judge Chutkan to try to make those findings, to try to do that line drawing. And the problem with that for the special counsel's office, Hallie, is that it's a win to the extent that it means this case is not going to trial before November. It means that this is going to be wrapped up in a lot more litigation for many more weeks and months. And the fact that the former president's lawyer sort of conceded that sort of line drawing exercise could go back to Judge Chutkan was an amazing moment, because doing that concession, on the one hand, you would think, wow, he's admitting some things are not immune, but he's also saying, go ahead and send it right back down to Judge Chutkan, because what it means is that there is no trial before November.
You're right about how careful, too, the justices seem to be in the way that they are casting this decision, because it is not a decision that is solely going to affect Donald Trump, this particular former president, at this particular moment in time. This is a generational, as so many of these court decisions are, it is a generational decision for them. And it was also interesting to hear a couple of the justices, Laura, on the more conservative end of the spectrum, raise questions about the statute itself that is at the heart of the special counsel's case against former President Trump in this particular instance.
Yeah, and then they're concerned. They kept saying not with the application in this case. They kept bending over backwards to say it's not this case, but in future cases we're worried about a political prosecution. Obviously, something that the former president has attached to greatly here. And I think the justices were trying to be careful not to align themselves in a way that would be perceived as if being sympathetic to that view. And they're not accusing Jack Smith of that, but they're worried about future cases. And as Justice Gorsuch said at one point, I thought was sort of an amazing moment. He said, we're writing a decision for the ages. And Kavanaugh in particular is worried about doing something to relax the rules just because it's Donald Trump in ways that could backfire later.
One of the arguments that you also heard justices talk about, justices press on, was this issue, and we heard it at the end with Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, but we heard it throughout, was what happens if, there is a political rival that wants to prosecute his or her former opponent, right, Laura? And Justice Gorsuch got to this point. I want to play a little bit of that from oral arguments just within the last hour. Here it is.
I'm not concerned about this case, but I am concerned about future uses of the criminal law to target political opponents based on accusations about their motives.
How might the justices think about that question in whatever ruling ultimately comes out, Laura?
Well, I think they want to be careful not to make motive be sort of the paramount consideration, because as Gorsuch is trying to point out, for any first-term president, the motive to get reelected can't be blamed. It's natural. And so anything could be attributed to that motive. And that by itself, Hallie, is what they're trying to say can't be an improper motive. The special counsel's office would come along and say there was a lot more here than just a motive to get reelected. And the steps that he took cross the line. Their whole point is to say there's any number of different safeguards to make sure that someone isn't going after a political rival for political reasons in a way that would be an abuse of power by the Justice Department. But in this case, on these facts, Hallie, the special counsel's office is saying that what Donald Trump did transgressed anything that's ever been seen before. I think they were trying to underscore for the court that this is so unusual, that this is so different. We don't have to worry about people just getting prosecuted every 4 years, because what we've seen here has never happened before.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.